This week on the Double T Insider, we go under the Friday night lights with Red Raider football as they hold an open practice for the Red Raider faithful at Jones AT&T Stadium. Tech and LCU renewed an old crosstown series in baseball this past week as the two squads met for the first time since 2009 and only the second time since 1993. We catch up with the players and coaches and what this game means to them. Also, we catch up with former Red Raider running back Baron Batch as he was back in Lubbock this past weekend. No, not showing off his running skills, but rather his painting skills. Erica Taylor with that story, and we give you a preview of what's coming up this week for Texas Tech athletics and much more. So sit back, buckle up, and get ready because the Double T Insider starts right now. Let's go! The Double T Insider is brought to you by the College of Media and Communication and is entirely produced by students of the college. Welcome into a brand new edition of the Double T Insider, everyone. I'm Joshua Cook, joined by Erica Taylor, as this week we bring you brand new inside access into Texas Tech athletics. And Erica, this week we go under the big bright lights of Jones AT&T Stadium with Red Raider football.
That's right. Texas Tech fans made a good showing. The energy was high and the weather was feeling pretty good outside. It was Friday night lights for Texas Tech football. Double T Insider's Kiara Powell has the story.
Last Friday, fans showed up at the Jones in true Red Raider fashion to watch the boys who bleed red and black play their first scrimmage in the stadium. The game allowed the team to show off some of the swagger Kingsbury promised during his first press conference at Tech.
Oh, it was a great feeling. I mean, it was Friday Night Lights, so it pretty much felt like an old high school memory, getting back out here. But it was good, good showing. Got to put on a good show for the fans and everything. So we had a good time out here.
Yeah, nothing like last year. Everybody seems super excited to be here and new start, new energy, and it was fun.
It was awesome. Beautiful night under the lights and a great turnout. Kids were fired up. Anytime there's that many people in the stands, they're going to get a little extra. So it was great to have that many people here.
Tech's offense got off to a rocky start, however, giving up more than a few sacks and failing to execute multiple plays.
Yeah, we started off pretty bad, but once we started rolling, getting our confidence, did really well. We got to make sure that we're doing good, we're doing bad, that we can come back and do well instead of only when things are going right.
Gave up too many sacks, way too many negative plays, but overall communication, the tempo of play was better, which is good. It was ugly early, but they kept going and made some great throws at the end, and that's what you want.
Overall, Kingsbury was very impressed with how both sides came together.
Like the way it went, where you trade punches and defense was getting after us early and then offense came back and finished strong. So that's good. The team's rising up at different times, so it was good to see.
He was just like, you guys got to get your energy back up. I mean, this is not how we usually play. You guys know how we get down, so we just had to get back together, regroup ourselves and focus up again. During
the second half, confidence was not an issue for the offense, who showed up and showed out, wearing down the defense with some impressive plays.
Just that this is when we take over. With our tempo, our pace of play, second half, we should wear down the defense and start making plays. And, so they responded, so that was good to see.
Today was pretty good. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes in the second half, but we came out with a lot of good energy. But other than that, we just got to limit our mistakes in the second half. But just focus when we're tired. That's the main objective right now. Yeah, that is just filling up your gaps and making sure everybody does their own part of the 111 on the defense, you know what I'm saying? So we all just got to, take our time and do what we're supposed to do, and everything will pan out to where they get no yards at all. Great advantage. I mean, it's going to give us so much tempo that when it comes to other teams we play, we're going to have all kind of breath, so we won't be as tired.
And if this scrimmage was any indication of what lies ahead for the football team this upcoming season, fans are in for a very exciting fall. Reporting for the Double T Insider, I'm Kiara Powell.
Texas Tech and Lubbock Christian University faced off in a crosstown baseball game last Sunday. LCU, who's ranked number 5 in the NAIA polls, did not take Tech lightly and came away with the W. Double T Insider's Joshua Cook has the story.
Under the lights of Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park, when the Red Raiders are at home, the team in the opposite dugout is usually one that the fans don't recognize. But this past week, that wasn't the case, as to locals, they knew both teams on the diamond very well, as Texas Tech and LCU met for the first time since 2009.
I thought overall, other than the result, I think the deal for, city of Lubbock and the community and Coach Hayes getting to come out and throw the first pitch and people getting to see these two teams play on a Sunday evening, a beautiful day, and people got to spend all day at home and come out and watch a baseball game with a good crowd. I thought it was great.
The Red Raiders and Chaps played their 36th game against each other in program history, of course dating back to the Larry Hayes days, and you can't have a Tech LCU game without the former Red Raider and Chaps head coach. Hayes, the winningest coach in Texas Tech history, chatting it up with current head coach Tim Tadlock before the game. After all the pregame ceremonies, it was finally time to play ball, and it was a battle between the two Lubbock-based squads. In the end, LCU would take the victory 6-5, and players on both sides enjoyed the game.
It was great. I think it was awesome for the Lubbock locals to come out and be able to see us play LCU, and they played a great game. And I just think it was a really relaxed atmosphere, and I think it was good for the city of Lubbock.
It was a lot of fun. Something we've been looking forward to for a while. Come out here and play in front of a big crowd.
It was fun to see those guys and play against them.
It's just nice to play a team that everyone knows about and's heard of, and you get a chance to play a team at upper division and upper level.
The most interesting part of the game was, despite LCU coming in as the visitor, you wouldn't have known because of the cheering section all in blue behind the LCU dugout cheering on the Chaps.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was cool coming out here to this stadium. It's a great stadium, great atmosphere.
Yeah, it was different. Like half the stands were cheering for us and half of them were cheering for LCU. But it was cool. It was a nice atmosphere, and it was a good game.
Now, this meeting marked only the second time since 1993 that the two squads have met, and with this in mind and how Sunday's game went, the answer was pretty consistent across the board. Players and coaches wouldn't mind continuing the series.
I'd be all for it. We're for the reason I just said. I think it's twofold. I think it's good for baseball fans here in Lubbock, but I think it's good for both our programs just to be able to play a midweek game that's easy on your budgets and easy on your guys going to class and not having to miss school. All those kinds of things I think are good for the programs.
Well, as a player, we don't really get told the schedule until about 2 weeks before, so we're just ready to line up and play whoever they put on the schedule. But I thought it was a pretty cool little ordeal.
I think it's competitive. Skill's close. They're D1, we're not, but it's close. We have good players. They have good players.
If Tech and LCU continue the series on a consistent basis into the future, only time will tell. But for one night, fans got to come together to watch two teams from one city under the lights of Rip Griffin Park. Reporting for the Double T Insider, I'm Joshua Cook.
Coming up on the other side of the break, we have a former Texas Tech football player who's now showing off his art skills. But first, here's a look at the Texas Tech trivia question of the week.
This past week, Trey Mossick was named to the National Pitcher of the Year watch list, marking the third straight year a Texas Tech pitcher has made the list. What two pitchers does he join to make the list in the last 3 years? Your options are A. Duke Von Schaman and John Neely, B. Chad Bettis and Dallas Braden, C. Daniel Coulomb and Shane Broyles, or D. Rusty Shellhorn and Aaron Odom. The answer to the Texas Tech trivia question of the week is coming up later in the show, but first we take a break. Don't worry, more Double T Insider rolls on after the timeout.
Texas Tech is on the rise. Now a national research university, a growing campus steeped in tradition. 7 straight semesters of record enrollment. Wind research that's unrivaled in the world. The best trained and educated students for today's jobs. And to all this, we have just one thing to say. With pride, guns up.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Here's a final look into Red Raider football as they wrap up spring practice for the week. Take a look.
Still got a long way to go as far as getting to know, what makes everybody tick, but it's been good work. I think the energy's picked up from day one, and they know what to expect every time they come out to practice and the intensity that we demand. So it's been good for both parties, coaches and players.
Just to keep the offense confused, to keep the quarterback guessing, just give them all them looks to keep the game, difficult for them, and hopefully create some, coverage sacks and stuff like that.
I think they have an idea of what we're trying to get to, and we'll always want to go faster, even if we're playing really fast. It's just how the offense is set up. So they know there's a standard there, and we've gotten a lot better than day one. So that's all you can ask.
Oh, of course, after, 13 practices now, we're finally getting used to it, but I tell you, it's still wearing us out. When we started, we lost a little energy on defense, it kind of showed. With the first 60 plays, I felt like we did a real good job. In the last 30, the offense kind of, they got the rolling. We ain't going to hold them down forever. It's a great offense on that side of the ball.
Oh, yeah, it's a little tiring at some points, the practices get a little weary, and we had a bad session of 7-on-7 today, and I think that's just because, guys got tired, but we got fired up in team, and we had a really good team period, so that was good for us.
Their whole life they've eaten one way and gotten by, and so now you're at a different level of competition, so to keep up, you better do the right things, get rest and eat well, and so those are things we're trying to teach them about.
Moving us around so we get a chance to learn the whole defense and not just one spot. So we got guys lined up in different places. Like today, I even lined up at some nose today. So, it's good to see a lot of different packages and stuff like that. Well, I just try to do my part. I'm going to come out here every day and just work and try to lead these young guys the best I can. Try to do my part. I'm out here to, put pressure on the quarterback and control the D-line, so I'm just trying to do my best to do that.
Defense is doing a great job. Coach Wallerstedt has a bunch of complex schemes, and then they picked them up, and some of these kids have had 5 defense coordinators in 5 years, so they've embraced his schemes, and they've done a really good job out here.
He's coaching us up, man. Every guy on the D-line's made improvement this spring, and it's all because of Coach Scott, man. He's done a great job with us right now. Expect a big turnout. We had the Friday night lights, and we had one side of the field pretty much filled up. So the spring game, I expect a big turnout. I want all the fans to come out and support us.
Kids are fired up. Anytime you get to come out in front of a crowd in here and get to play, it's going to be a great environment. It was for Friday night lights, and I'm sure it will be this Saturday.
It's a new era of Tech football, and we're really looking forward to getting it started.
For Texas Tech fans, I'm sure the name Baron Batch rings a bell. You may know him as a standout running back during his days as a Red Raider.
Now he's a standout in the art field as a painter. He showcased his work at last week's Lubbock Arts Festival.
Erica Taylor goes one-on-one with Baron Batch.
Erica Taylor here for the Double T Insider, and we are at the Lubbock Memorial Civic Center where Baron Batch, former Texas Tech football player, is the spotlight artist for the 35th annual Lubbock Arts Festival. Baron, talk about today and what the art you've been showcasing here.
Yeah, we started at 10 o'clock this morning, and I've been here all day, just meeting, talking to people, explaining my artwork, and just a little bit about my art. I started painting about a year ago, and everything that you see here has a story and a meaning behind it, and it represents a certain point in my life or something I was going through at the time, or a message that I want to get across. So I feel like people can relate with that.
Have you always had the skills in art, or always been painting? Before you actually started showcasing your work?
I've always been somewhat creative, I guess, but I really started painting and got into what I'm doing now about a year ago. So it hasn't been too long. So over that time, it's kind of evolved and changed, and still is. But I'm just flattered that people enjoy it.
What inspired you to get into that over a year ago?
I had a lot of time on my hands. I was rehabbing from a knee injury, and it just moved to a new place, and the walls were blank, and I needed art to hang up, and figured I'd just burn some time and start painting and paint my own, and out of that, it was kind of like that grew pretty fast, and now doing things like this, but I enjoy it.
Now, did your teammates at the time when you were playing knew you had skills and can paint and all that, or was it?
When I first started doing it, I guess some friends and teammates and stuff, I guess they followed me on Twitter, and I'd post pictures and stuff, and it was kind of one of those weird, quirky things. And most football players, aren't really into art or paint or stuff like that. And over time, they really, guys started coming to me and would request me to do pieces for them and their families, and that was really cool. So now it's the point where you have coaches and stuff who are wanting prints and want my work, and it's flattering.
You're a Midland native. How does it feel to be back in West Texas and being able to showcase your work like this?
I'll always come back to West Texas. West Texas is home. I love it. You know, I'm seeing so many people that I knew years ago. That they're coming back with their kids. Their kids are now like in high school and stuff. It's starting to remind me that I've gotten older. But at the same time, it's cool, and it's cool to be able to come back to a place that largely in part made me who I am.
I would like to kind of ask you about, let's say, this work right here. What kind of inspired you about that one?
Yeah, so early on when I was painting, a lot of my inspiration was from just simply stuff that I saw. For example, like this painting right here, I remember I was driving home one day and I saw birds sitting on the tops of these trees, and I had this idea of, you know, how I wanted to create that and how I wanted to paint it. Same thing with this painting above, you know, the painting of the up house. I've always liked that movie and wanted to paint that. And as I kind of progressed, it went from me just painting things that I saw to stories I wanted to represent and convey. And now that's kind of the direction that I'm going now, is less just painting things to paint them and more painting them to tell a story.
After the break, we'll go on the clock with Red Raider football, but first, see which answer gets eliminated from the Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week.
It's now time to take away one of the answers to the Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week. Earlier we asked, this past week, Trey Mossick was named to the National Pitcher of the Year watch list, marking the third straight year a Texas Tech pitcher has made the list. What two pitchers does he join to make the list in the last 3 years? Your options were A, Duke Von Schaman and John Neely, B, Chad Bettis and Dallas Braden, C, Daniel Coulomb and Shane Broyles, or D, Rusty Shellhorn and Aaron Odom. The answer that is not correct is D, Rusty Shellhorn and Aaron Odom. The answer to the Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week is coming up later in the show, but first we step away for a quick break. Don't go anywhere, more Double T Insider coming up next.
Texas Tech is on the rise. Now a national research university, a growing campus steeped in tradition. 7 straight semesters of record enrollment. Wind research that's unrivaled in the world. The best trained and educated students for today's jobs. And to all this, we have just one thing to say. With pride, guns up.
Welcome back to the Double T Insider. Get your timer set. We're back on the clock with Red Raider football.
Double T Insider here, and we are on the clock with Kenny Williams right here at the Jones AT&T Stadium. The game where I give Kenny 10 different scenarios and he has to answer them to the best of his ability, all in 60 seconds. All right, Kenny, think you can do this?
I guess I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock, please. Okay. If I had to eat the same food for the rest of my life, it would be?
Chicken.
My biggest pet peeve is?
Ooh. One word, Texas.
A celebrity I would love to have dinner with is?
Beyonce.
My teammates say I am?
Big.
If I won the Mega Million Lottery, the first thing I would buy is?
An island.
Between my cell phone, computer, and TV, I would go a whole month without?
My phone.
My first job was?
Never.
If I could teleport back into time, I would travel to?
The 50s.
If I had superhuman powers, it would be to?
Super speed.
My favorite cartoon character as a kid was?
SpongeBob.
All right. How many time left? All right, awesome. Way to beat the clock. You had 14 seconds left. Congratulations. I'm Erica Taylor, and we were on the clock with Kenny Williams.
Get ready to take notes. Here's a preview of what's ahead for Texas Tech athletics.
On Monday, Texas Tech men's golf will compete in the 3-day Big 12 Championships in Prairie Dunes, Kansas. Events are scheduled to last all day. Texas Tech is looking to improve on last year's third-place finish at the championships. Red Raider baseball stays home Tuesday to play New Mexico State. First pitch is set for 6 p.m. Tech is looking to avenge a loss from earlier this season to the Aggies. Lady Raider tennis will be on the road in Norman, Oklahoma to compete in the 4-day Big 12 championships starting Thursday. Texas Tech is currently number 1 in the Big 12 rankings. Red Raider tennis will also be in Norman, Oklahoma for the Big 12 championships. This will be head coach Tim Siegel's last Big 12 championships with the team. He is scheduled to retire after the season.
Texas Tech Track and Field will host a Red Raider Open on Thursday. Events are scheduled to last all day. This is the last event for both teams before the Big 12 Outdoor Championships. Red Raider Baseball will be on the road to play a 3-game series with Oklahoma. Friday's first pitch is set for 6:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday's games are set to start at 2 p.m. and 1 p.m. respectively. Tech dropped 2 of 3 to the Sooners last year. Red Raider softball returns home to face Texas. First pitch Friday is set for 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday's games are set to start at 4 p.m. and noon respectively. Texas Tech defeated Texas last year 5-2 at Rocky Johnson Field.
And finally, here's the answer to the Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week.
It's finally time to give you the answer to the Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week. Earlier we asked, this past week Trey Mossick was named to the National Pitcher of the Year watch list, marking the 3rd straight year a Texas Tech pitcher has made the list. What 2 pitchers does he join to make the list in the last 3 years? Your options were A. Duke Von Schaman and John Neely, B. Chad Bettis and Dallas Braden, or C. Daniel Coulomb and Shane Broyles. The answer is A. Duke Von Schaman and John Neely. Both Duke Von Schaman and John Neely were named to the list in the 2012 and 2011 seasons respectively, and were both drafted in the 2012 MLB Draft. Von Schaman drafted by the Dodgers and Neely by the Astros. Don't worry if you didn't get the answer to this week's Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week. Be sure to stop by the Double T Insider next week for another Texas Tech Trivia Question of the Week right here on the Double T Insider.
That's a wrap of this week's show for the Double T Insider. We want to thank you so much for watching. And Josh, we're starting to wind down here in our first season with just a couple episodes left.
And with that in mind, be sure to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and search for us on YouTube. For Erica Taylor, I'm Joshua Cook. Have a great week, everyone.